All right. Hey, all right. We are live. I hope everything's working right. Hey, Charles.
Howdy.
Is it sounding okay to you?
Yeah, sounds fine to me. Actually, I
With
usually run
the
this.
with the issues of the headphones not working with this
I
computer, I
see
don't know
that.
why,
Hmm.
but I had to go
I'm not
back to these
running.
little
I'm
ones.
not running headphones either, and it's coming through on my
Oh, good,
TV
good.
speakers, and it
Okay.
sounds really good.
Let
So
me go ahead and get.
I'm just going to go with that.
I'm gonna go ahead and try to get Alan over here. I got. I sent Jesse a message so he can get here. So let me find Alan.
Who else are we expecting this evening? Anyone?
Alan B. Smith is our
Oh, I
guest.
know Alan, but other than that,
Nobody else at the moment.
okay.
Jesse Peak is going to be giving us a little bit of news, UFO news and
Okay.
things. So he'll be here in a little bit. I'm not sure when. Usually it's about
We can just
30 minutes after the hour.
Have a.
But I just sent him the link to make sure he knew how to get here when he gets here. So keep our eyes open on that one. Let me go ahead and oh wait, no, I don't want to remove you. No. Okay. Now I want to start Mixler up though while we're talking here. We're waiting for Alan to get in here. Okay. This is all kind of new to me. I think it's doable though.
So how have you been this week?
Okay. I've been doing not a whole lot of anything. It's been cold here.
Mm.
Right now I have minus 10 degrees wind chill factor.
Well, that's not too bad for you this time of year.
Except the wind is blowing like
Oh yeah,
30 miles an hour
that
coming
sucks.
off the cornfield.
That sucks. That sucks anytime though. I mean, really.
Yeah, but it's not usually.
Adding insult to injury. You know.
Yeah. As long as my house stays up, I'll be all right.
There you go.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Let's see what all I've got rolling here.
I'm signing on now and getting it started.
That done.
And
That
there we go. Now we got that. There, now we hear you. Okay.
So
all
3,
right.
2, 1, and.
All right, we hear you. All right, we hear
Ding
you.
Dong.
Yeah. All right, now did Alan get there?
I don't know.
There's Alan. Hey.
Where's Alan?
Hey.
Alan.
Hey, Alan.
Buddy, how
What's
you
going
doing?
on, man?
Good. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, looking good there. All right, good deal. We got it figured out. How do you like this new
No, I dig
toy
it,
I'm
yeah.
trying out here?
Ready to get back into this paranormal swing of things?
Yeah. I'm really excited. Is this your third transmission on StreamYard?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I guess.
Okay, cool.
I had a couple of test ones that I tried, and this is my first one on the StreamYard actually. On this particular show, we've had what? If you look at my website, it's like nearly 60 episodes and different.
Yeah.
You were one of them, I think. You were one of the early ones.
And thousands of listens too.
Yeah, we have
on the reel. Yeah.
75,000 total listens, almost 76,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done a lot of work here, and Charles been a big part of that, and Maria and a few others have been. I think Maria is over on the YouTube chat. I don't see her in the chat on the studio area.
Yep.
I'm still getting
I
used
see
to
Eric made it to. Eric made it over to
Okay, good.
the Mixler show,
Okay, hold on
and he's asking for a link.
So now,
I'm
Alan,
going
I
to
was
see
going to
if
ask
they'll
you. I was going to ask you
pop in
instead
the
of
page.
you have a lot of people that are like last year in review. Like what was last year and what was the biggest thing last year in review. Well, I don't want to do that, Alan. I don't want to do that.
No.
So
Okay.
I decided to look at it. Like I decided I was gonna create a car without rear view mirrors, right? So you don't have to look back; you just look forward. No rear
True.
view
Except,
mirrors. I don't know how the cops would like that, but anyway, you
yeah,
know.
but I have too many blind spots. I need those mirrors, man.
But my thought was, what was good about this first week in 2022? Now, I thought it was going really good for me. For me, I thought it was going really good until Minnesota decides, oh, we got to have a mask mandate again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of surprising because in New Jersey, New York, we don't have that right now, and
Yeah.
I mean on transportation, public transportation, sure, but it's and we originally were like the epicenter in New York City, and we're not experiencing that. And now that I've moved outside of the city, in a more rural area, it's we don't have the issue here like other areas are having now, which I kind of find odd because people really did get lax with wearing masks, and everyone got pretty much back to normal. To them, it's odd for me to hear that out west. Why that's going on.
Yeah. In a few minutes, we're going to have Jesse Peak join us, and he's a MUFON investigator in Pennsylvania. You might have heard Jesse Peak
Yeah,
talk,
sure have.
and he does his own podcast, and he'll be sharing his podcast archives with Earth Radio right here, and I'll be playing them on my station when he gets it figured out. But that's our plan anyway. There's so much technology stuff
Oh
we gotta
my
gotta get
gosh.
figured out. But
Yeah, I've been banging my head like because
he's gonna share his shows with me so that I can just have some more fun listening to what he has shared. And my goal for that is just to get more people to hear it. You know,
yeah.
I don't expect any praise for even taking the time to do it. I just want to be able to share the information. You know, and so that's why I do two other shows on Wednesday night. I do two other shows. I do um, Into the Outer Realms Revisited,
Hmm.
and then I do Three Beards Archive podcast. Okay, so those are pretty big names on Facebook if you follow them at all. And Joey Medea and Tanya Medea with Into the Outer Realms, and then Craig Ansel and his team with Three Beards podcast. They each have their own way of talking about stuff. So I mean, I'm more than willing to share anything with anybody. If you want to get more people to hear what you want to say.
Yeah, no, I'm game. It's
And
when I do paranormal now, and I'm sure when Jesse does his podcast, like
yeah,
you have a formula, and I try to stay
yeah,
within the formula. But when you're just doing other shows or YouTube streams, then I break outside the formula,
yeah.
and I
There
share
you go.
things that I wouldn't on the show. But I was laughing because I saw Psycho's comment. I thought you were an imaginary friend of Ron's. good, good to see you.
That's Venus. That's my friend. She's my friend, actually. Believe
Oh,
it or not. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
She's
so
my
her name
friend.
isn't actually Psycho.
No,
It's
she might be
V.
a little. She might be a little psycho, but I hope she don't get mad at me for telling on
That's all
her.
right. We're
But
all a little bit psycho in this
that's
field, that's
right.
for sure.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but no. Venus is a very interesting person. She knows her stuff when it comes to sharing some things about what we need to know. And
Yeah.
I think your wife has some gifts that you talked about that she doesn't necessarily go into it full steam ahead, but she knows that she has some gifts, right? And
Yeah, she does.
and then with Venus though, she's been trained and still training on some things that she's practicing and trying to fine tune, but she's done some readings for us here that have just been not explainable at all,
Yeah.
and that she would know these
Quite,
things.
quite accurate.
Yeah, and just not understanding how she would even know some of the things that she talked about, you know, and just amazing. But it kept us out of trouble. it kept us alive. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
Ron, Eric just messaged that he's there, ready
okay.
to be
Do
added.
you
I
want
think.
to?
Yep.
Do you want to? Okay, we can add him in if you want. I can have up to
There you
10
go.
people. I think
All
this is
right.
Eric
He's here.
Hartwig. You
Yeah.
know Eric. You met
Hey,
Eric.
I
Eric.
well,
I did.
I don't know. I met Alan, but I didn't. I regret not introducing myself. At
Oh,
at
go ahead.
Pine Bush, right? We were under the tent during the
Mhm.
day, and I was starting up. Bill was like sitting there talking to what's it, a few people, and you were standing there, and I was walking around taking pictures, and then at one point you remember me saying, "Alan, turn around." Remember that?
And you took a picture.
Yeah, and you
Yes,
turn and
I
look.
do remember that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was me. I'm Eric Hartwig, a good friend of
Oh
Bill.
man, I'm so sad we didn't chat.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the Pine Bush experience.
Yeah.
It's been
Oh,
mine
yeah,
there.
it was great.
There's
We were all
never enough time to get around to get to everybody. You know, you always have to say, "Oh, I should have talked to this one or that one
Yeah.
or the other one."
yeah.
Or you get selfies of each other, like what Alan did with me and I did with Alan. And then
Mhm.
as I'm standing next to Alan across the room, Tristan T. Harris was sitting in the sidelines over there by the window in the conference room, and he's zooming in on his powerful zoom, and he said, "Look, I got the Ron squats with Alan."
Yeah, I had so much more. I had my intent was to film so much more and record, take pictures, but we ended up just actually being talking a lot, but also being busy, especially
Yeah.
getting ready. And so for the speakers at night, so I just didn't. But you're right. That's what makes it fun, so that you go back again the next year.
So
Oh, yeah.
what is your greatest outlook of this new year? Are we going to be able to go back to conferences and be
Hell
safe?
yes, hell yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be one thing I really want to do, and not have to worry about, oh, I'm gonna die if I go to this thing. I don't want to have to worry about that.
I mean, nothing's absolute. There's no way to predict the future for certain.
Right. I understand.
But I think the probability of things being back to normal by let's say Pine Bush by next September, I think is very high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it September or is it June or something?
I thought
I
Bill
thought
said
it was
June.
moved back to June again.
Oh, was it moved back to June? Oh,
Yeah.
That's good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Eric,
Well, my claim still stands then. I think.
What's that?
either
Charles?
way, either way.
Either way. So, but so do you think that we'll have any new observations and new outlooks on the UFO front? Like you had the big reveal, the disclosure that we really didn't get, but you know what I'm saying. Most of us were pretty unsatisfied with that answer. But do you think that we're going to have anything more that we can grab a hold of and
For
really,
sure. Yeah.
grow?
Yeah, I think the door. The door is open. I don't want to call it disclosure per se, but
Fair enough.
the door for sharing information has been opened.
Yeah.
And so, like the Drive just recently came out with an article about another, a sighting that was reported off at Catalina Islands. I think it took place in 2019. I'm not sure, but it took a couple years for it to be released and or for someone to find it. And so that means while we're getting all excited about ATIP, and all these revelations, meanwhile there's more events that are occurring we're looking back at 2004, 2017, 2015,
Right.
and meanwhile there are UFO sightings by the military, many of which we don't know about yet, and I think we're
Right.
going to continue to see that over the indefinitely at this point.
Hopefully, there's some more things just as good, and if not even better than the Tic Tac and all that.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And I don't know what what the latest technology is as far as FLIR and their tracking systems is, but if I assume that the tracking systems are superior now to when they were in 2015 or earlier, then we should be getting better videos, over the next few years.
I bet since those events, they poured millions of dollars into.
Those were really
sure.
those that were the first releases were really disappointing. because they were like low quality video pictures of a screen. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it was like doubly reduced.
It was a kinescope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was those, but so even then, those, if we had had the original feeds to
Mhm.
work with, the original digital copies, it would have been a lot more telling. But we work with what we got, you know,
Yeah.
and it's
Mhm.
there's going to be better out there. There's going to be better happening.
Hmm.
Mhm.
The only thing that I see lately, it seems like there's a lot more commercial pilots that are willing to talk, willing to
Mhm.
drop pictures and stuff that I don't remember seeing as much before, that now we're getting. So, hey, more
I
the
think
merrier.
I think it's about the chain of command. I
Mhm.
think that as time passes, the higher ups of the chain of command have a different sentiment
Mhm.
about what should be kept from the public. Also, I would imagine that, like, you know,
Once
you know how it is
the
with,
cat's out of the box.
well, yeah, that, but also like technology, it does catch up, right? Like
Yes.
the stealth bomber, like we can only be advanced for 40 years for so long, and then other countries catch up, or
Mhm.
other private entities develop that technology on their own. So I think that it's it's inevitable that they're going to have to admit what's happening, what's occurring, that there has been contact made. But as long as the technology is in advance of what the common private sector technology is, they're just not going to share it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
don't know how long that could be. Like another 50 years, another 10 years. I don't know.
yeah. Now, I know there's been there's been like primarily three different shapes, correct? Maybe four if you count the cigar shape. But if you look at the disc shape or the flying saucer, that's a
Hmm.
classic UFO, what you call UFO, or whatever you want to call it. Some people have a problem and call it UAPs. I'm
Yeah,
going to say UFO, okay? And so,
me too.
uh, anyway, then you have the triangle one, okay? Now you have the rectangle one that looks like a big mattress of some sort,
Yeah.
That was in Brazil. Thiago Luiz had talked about that one, and he's the MUFON director for that area in Brazil. Okay, so um, where do you think they're all coming from? Are they coming from the same place? Are they coming from the same uh, alien life forms, or are they different entities altogether? Or and then the other thing too is you see a lot of activity coming from water, around water. Hudson Bay is one area that we talked about, and
Well, yeah, I mean the
uh,
Hudson River here in the
yeah,
Hudson Valley. I mean,
yeah,
it's.
Hudson Valley is what I meant.
Mhm.
So now, what do you think of water as being a portal of some sort? And like what I said before, and this might be totally scientifically incorrect, which I'm sure it is, but anyway, I think that space is more water than what we think space is. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, I'm gonna go down imaginary road because I'm definitely not
Right.
even near like a physicist, right?
All right. So
But
anyway, so going from water to water, which would be coming out of our ocean, that's what I'm getting at. Using a portal of water as a conduit.
yeah, no.
Okay.
What I was gonna say is I was gonna get even more imaginary and just speculate, like what if water somehow serves the medium itself
Yeah.
is compatible with whatever this trans-dimensional technology that we're speculating on is, right? Like maybe it obviously, like if you want to take this portal to another dimension, or whatever it is, you don't do it through dirt or rock, right? Maybe for some reason water is more suitable
Flexible.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just guessing, but
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Just something to consider while you're researching this topic, and then it might turn on a spark in your mind and say, "Oh, that does make sense now."
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to share that with anybody. That's your own personal information. You know what I mean? So there
Mhm.
might be things that we know that we don't need to tell anybody. We just need to know for ourselves. You
Yeah.
know, and that goes from religious viewpoints to who these creatures are, whatever. Even if you're talking about Bigfoot or whatever you're talking about, you know, we don't necessarily need to tell anybody. We just need to know what we saw in our own personal mind, what
Hmm.
we have witnessed. Okay, and that way we don't have to prove it to anyone what we saw. And because when you try to prove it to somebody, they're gonna be skeptical. They're gonna debate you and you know make you look like you're kind of crazy. Oh, it's just in your mind. It's all you're just making it
Well,
all up.
do you know what the challenge with that is too? I think because I historically I just don't have the best memory. So like if I don't use facts and figures, repeatedly within a short period of time, like I start losing those things. So you get into a conversation with somebody, and they're skeptical, or they don't believe it, and I can't pull up like all the facts that I need to make my point. But it's like I've already done that research. I've read about it. I know, what I read and what I learned that supports the fact that I now believe that we are visited by extraterrestrials. But when someone's skeptical, it's like unless you can hand them like a pamphlet, like an introduction to believing in UFOs pamphlet, it's kind of hard to just convince anybody. So yeah, it makes sense to kind of keep some thoughts to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Communication is key. Oh, I'm sorry, Charles.
no, go
ahead.
please.
Now, for instance, watching the bishop just now, his communication skills are so good. He's so thorough at explaining things and telling you what he thinks of it and everything that when he came to saying, now I can't prove this, but I'm going to tell you what I saw, and I would take a lie detector test. I believed him. That some people are more believable than others. You want to sound very intelligent and scientific, and that's part of you know.
You know what, Eric, you probably, and all of you guys, probably have picked up on this too, because listening to so many shows. I was just listening to an old episode of Dreamland from the 90s with Art Bell, Linda Moulton Howe, and Stanton Friedman. And it was the first time Stanton Friedman apparently had heard Art Bell talk about his UFO sighting.
Okay.
And, you could tell that Stan was kind of struck by it, but also when I was listening to Art, and Art, has a flair for entertainment, you could tell, like there's that something that's like kind of genuine. It's like the vocal cords, the box, the throat kind of becomes a little bit raw when someone's sharing something that really shocked them or really surprised them.
Wow.
And
Yes.
you can kind of pick up on that sincerity. Like Terry Lovelace, I picked that up in particular when I talked to him. And that's one of the tools that we have. I know a psychiatrist will try to break it down why we were misinterpreting this and that, but like that I think that's a really important thing. Is like if you can get people's stories out there, and people listen, even if they're skeptical, I think when they hear the emotion that's the current that's underneath,
Sure.
even if they don't have all the evidence, even if they can't explain themselves in detail, at least you can sense that something real truly happened. So not everybody can be a bishop and like break things down so succinctly and in such a way that it's not only digestible but supportable.
Okay, somebody that just brought to my mind Calvin. Calvin Pascagoula.
Pascagoula, Calvin Parker. Yeah.
Calvin Parker. Yes. Okay, he's not a particularly eloquent witness, but his sincerity is absolutely there.
Yeah.
And the emotion is obviously there. So you have to take what you get.
Yeah.
As if you want to look at it as a researcher, one person may have particular talents and abilities or skills that they've used along the way to estimate, distances or sizes or or just their own particular eloquence to describe something. But each one, it's that sincere. It's getting that emotional sincerity when they've seen something or done something or had something happen to them that has shocked them. Okay. And it's normal. We can hear it. We hear it all the time. It's just a part of life. And that's just so, it's that sincerity that keeps bringing me back, you know?
But that's the thing that I don't get. I mean, we get it, but I don't understand why people aren't just so much more fascinated, not just with ufology, but with aspects of the paranormal.
Sure. I look at it all as being different facets of the same phenomenon, really.
Yeah, I used to be in the same camp. I used to be and Ken Cherry, a friend of mine, he always spoke in that term, right? But I've been kind of shifting my mind a little bit on that. I think in the broadest sense, yes, that's true. The phenomenon meaning there is more to reality than what we see. There are machinations happening in behind the veil, if you will. But I still think that these are things that are operating independently. So when people have these alien abduction experiences, that's not the same thing as a shadow person. Maybe they're from the same realm, if you will, but I think that there's different agendas going on, with these different things. Now, Bigfoot, on the other hand, is interesting because there are those crossover events. UFO sighted nearby when a Bigfoot event is occurring, and it kind of makes you wonder, like maybe there is a connection there. But,
well, I've got my own pet theory for Bigfoots. If I were going to be taking biological samples on a strange planet, in the middle, with other intelligent species around, and I were going to go out collecting samples in the woods somewhere, I'd want to be the biggest, baddest critter in the woods, so nothing would mess with me.
Yeah.
And all I'd have to do is go take my samples and beam up.
Well, where I thought you were going to go with it was maybe Bigfoot's the bouncer for hire. Like
or that either.
Right? Like remember, like in E.T., the E.T. creatures are really short and small, and they're scurrying around the woods trying to find things. If you have a protector that's looking out, someone who's taller, a wider scope, and
Chewbacca Security Service.
Chewbacca Security Service.
Ecological samples returned.
Has anyone seen? Has anyone been watching the Boba Fett series on?
I have yet.
No.
Okay, there's a new character. There's a new big black Wookiee, like just menacing, a bounty hunter character that we're really excited to see. What happens.
And which one was it?
In episode 2 of Boba Fett. It's not a spoiler. It's just
all right.
The scenes that I've seen, just I don't know, a trailer or something. It looks like something they poured a lot of money into. It really looked good.
Yes.
Like original Star Wars stuff.
Yes, there's a couple of characters in the second episode that I won't mention, but when I saw them, I was like, "Oh wow, that's better than episodes 1, 2, and 3 for sure." Like and even some of the graphics were better than what I saw in the sequel trilogy. So yeah.
But you got to think about that though. When they did that original show in '77, they didn't have the technology with the CGI that they have now.
No, but then if they did, I don't think Star Wars would be what it is.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Interesting. Huh. Good point. So, what are you still going to do the paranormal now on KGRA? Right?
No. So I left KGRA when we were moving into our new house because I was super overwhelmed, and it just didn't make sense to do it. I just didn't have the time. And so I stepped away, and Bill was going to hold my spot. And then I decided, after being away for a couple of weeks, I was like, I think I might want to just try going on my own, and just doing the podcast independently, and doing it on my channel, because because life and work and all that kind of stuff gets a little hectic sometimes.
Keeping with the
I
schedule.
don't have the same responsibility to a station if I'm on my own. So, but
You
I
have
will
something
be.
that you had just produced here lately that I heard about that haven't seen yet myself.
No, I just posted an update on the channel, but next Thursday, Paranormal Now goes back on the air live on the
Okay.
Paranormal Pop channel. So if anybody wants to tune in, it's youtube.com/paranormalpop.
Okay, awesome.
And Mick West and David Halperin are
Yes, I did.
going to be on the
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm really excited about that.
Cool.
I'm really excited. Especially,
Very nice. All
Yeah,
right.
because it's been a while since I've spoken to a skeptic on the show, and I think it's healthy for us to do that.
I like that. I like that little show that you did where you took a couple hours and you talked to a couple of different people. The coffee and UFOs.
Oh yeah. So I'm doing that again too.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that little setup there, and that was just like a little quick, hello, how you doing? And then you didn't really get in too deep to it. You just said a few things, and then zip, you're gone, and then just enough to make people think, wait a minute, what's going on?
Yeah. It's kind of like a tasting, like a paranormal tasting. That's
Then
kind of how I
then they reach out to you and say, hey, Alan, wait a minute, what did you say then?
Yeah, it's our tea and biscuits. Like, come in, have some coffee and
But
biscuits.
I like
tea and
that. That
biscuits.
was fun.
Coffee and UFOs is awesome. That's an awesome.
And I
title.
got that link on the website for
Thanks,
you.
man.
And so if you want some more, if you want to add some more to that posting, let Andy know, let Andy Morrow know. Andy runs the website, so
Mhm.
if you let him know that you wanted to add some more files to that
Hey, Andy.
particular
I don't
podcast,
know if he's watching, but
I don't know. He'll see it later. He's not. He might be asleep right now. I don't know. So.
Did you say Addy is in Addy?
Andy.
Oh, Andy.
Andrew
Morrow.
Morrow,
Andy
yeah.
Morrow.
Oh, okay.
Hey there, Jesse. Okay. I can add Jesse now. Hey,
hey, Jesse.
all
How's it
right.
going, guys?
Jesse is our field investigator from Pennsylvania for MUFON.
Oh, nice.
And he got a new job just recently, Jesse. A couple of new jobs, actually, I think.
Yeah.
You go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off, Alan, but
Oh no, you're good.
he's kind of limited on his short little bit that he has
Yeah,
time.
no, I mean, I'm fine. I'm here for the whole show. So,
Okay.
no, I just
Yeah.
recently joined the ERT, the Experiencer Resource Team, and the SCU for investigations. So, been pretty busy. But that's a bit. I don't want to cut you guys off. Continue what
No.
you're doing, and
What I think is important with what Jesse's doing is he's a young guy. He's a young guy compared to some of the older people in the field,
Mhm.
And so I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but it's nice to have some young minds and young people working on this phenomenon, either in the UFOs or paranormal or whatever you want to say. I think they're kind of all connected personally, but
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah.
that's a whole other show though. We can talk about that some other time. But I do appreciate the younger generation getting involved, and you were interested enough to reach out and to learn and to get involved with it, and you had the right people guiding you, and you
Yeah.
took the right steps to move forward for what you needed, and that's going to help everybody, I think, including the older generation and the newer ones that are just getting into it. I don't think that an older person ain't going to tell a younger person how to think, and a younger person is not going to tell an older person how to think. But if we're all working together to try to get the same message out there, we just might get something across.
Yeah, it's the collective.
Yep.
So, Jesse, did you have any UFO news?
I just had the monthly statistical report from December, just to see what we got during the holidays.
Okay.
the United States had a total, this is reported just in MUFON only, 497 cases just in the month of December. Australia came in with second with 23, so you can see the difference in numbers compared to how many are reported in the United States. Out of all the states that reported, there was 593 cases total, and that's from every country that reported. There's probably over 20 countries that reported through MUFON. The top states are always usually California, Florida, Texas, New York, Ohio, Tennessee, and my state of Pennsylvania. Top 7. But this month in December, we actually had, I think it was, where's it at? 11 landings, hoverings, and takeoffs, and 16 entities observed during reports. So that is a lot. So some good stuff coming in.
Nothing in Minnesota, though. I didn't see nothing in Minnesota. I did not see nothing. That's bad.
Oh, yes, we got 6.
I ain't
Six,
seen nothing.
6 reports in Minnesota.
How many?
6.
6. Okay, where at? Where did it say where?
It doesn't say where at. It just says
Okay.
Minnesota 6. Yep. But yeah.
Interesting. Huh.
So yeah,
I
there's a lot of
didn't-
activity actually for the holidays. You know, I didn't think it'd be as many because everybody's going out and seeing family and really not,
Oh, yeah.
looking up as much.
Oh, but you also had the well, maybe that was only a few days ago, but we had the meteor shower.
Yes.
Yeah, we read the news wrong because it said on the 3rd and the 4th, I think, and then we went out on the 4th because we were supposed to have clear nights here in New York, which we did, and we saw nothing.
Yeah, sometimes you can't see it.
Nothing. I mean, I've seen more
Yeah.
shooting stars on a normal night than on a supposed meteor shower, but we did see a bear
Oh, yeah.
for the first time walking right in front of our property. So
Wow.
that was new for us. Yeah, you don't get that in New York.
Now, how big is your new property then compared? Well, of course, you lived in the city before, right? So
Yeah,
obviously you got a little bit of property.
It's like an average size property.
Okay.
but,
We're
you know,
at New
just
York.
in the Orange County area, not too far from Pine Bush.
Okay. Yeah.
So that means you'll be going again then.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Whether it's June or July or September,
Yeah.
I'm definitely going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll make sure what month before I drive all that way.
Yeah, seriously.
I got 25-hour drive. I got to make sure I'm going on the right day.
Yeah.
Wind up at Bill's place and say, "Well, I got to stay here for a week anyway."
Yeah.
So
Oh, but Ron, I did want to mention that but Paranormal Now will be syndicated on KUNX.
on the
The Onyx Network.
Mm-hmm.
on a new one with Margie Kay and Race Hobbs and
Yep.
No, okay,
Yep.
good
Because
deal.
yeah, because when I left KGRA, they were going through some changes. So when I was talking to Bill back and forth, and I had to make a decision, I just made the best decision I could, where it could stream, and I can still kind of keep control of my podcast and the episodes and everything.
Yeah.
And so I decided to go with KUNX just because I didn't know where Bill was at that moment. So it was just like a last minute decision. But I'm really happy. I love Race. Race gave me the opportunity to be on KGRA in the first place. And actually I'm interviewing Race for Coffee and UFOs tomorrow.
Oh,
So
there you
that'll
go.
be the first episode of 2022. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Very cool.
Very good. And what on your new show you said you're gonna have who for your first guest?
Mick West and David Halperin. David, I love. He's an old school academic. He was a hardcore ufologist when he was younger, and he no longer is. He doesn't think aliens are visiting us, but he has a sensitive mind and a good heart, and so I like his approach. It comes much more from a place of like, people who have sort of religious, ecstasies and alternate states of consciousness or just psychological experiences. Whereas Mick is a little bit more technical in his approach, towards debunking. So it'll be a nice, kind of yin and yang, I think, but both from the debunking perspective.
Absolutely, you get both worlds. That is a school.
Yeah, I mean, Mick West posted, I think it was a month ago, a video about that 2016 Utah UFO I don't know if you remember, it was like this really tiny white thing in the background coming around the mountains, and it speeds up right in the camera.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did like, I took it upon myself to just try to start teaching myself a little bit about video analysis. I didn't get very far with it, but I was just playing around with that video trying to figure out, is this real or not? And Mick just recently did a really good analysis on his website, and I kind of have to believe that it's not a UFO based on his video. Because one of the aspects that was really interesting about this UFO is that at first you might think, oh, it's a bug or it's something kind of floating super fast, right in front of the lens. But then you look at the video and you zoom in really close, because this was a high definition raw file. In the mountains way in the back, when this thing starts out, it's this little tiny white thing, and it looks like it kind of disappears behind the mountains for a little bit, and then comes around and then sweeps down the valley, and it's 900 miles per hour or whatever it is. But
that one in Utah, right?
Yeah, but he did make a good point that I was like, after watching it, that moment where it disappears behind the mountains really could have just been a dropped frame.
Optical illusion.
There's just no way, to prove either way. But when I was looking at it myself, and I was running it through filters, and I was looking for a shadow, and I couldn't see it, and we're talking about like a valley, kind of, the hills come down and then there's this valley, and the sun was pretty high, so there should have been some kind of shadow that you would see if it was as large of an object as you think it is, and there was nothing that I could find at all. So it's good to have.
I never thought of that one. Yeah. I know they thought that at first it was maybe some kind of bird, like Mark was thinking it was maybe a bird.
Yeah.
Mark D'Antonio, that is. And so he's a video analyst for MUFON, So kind of got to go with his expertise and his knowledge, what he knows when he's looking at something.
Yeah.
And we might not ever agree on some things, but you know what? He's pretty darn smart. So I kind of go along with what he says.
He's got to be the smartest person ever. Friend of mine.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He's really intelligent.
Oh man.
So I don't argue with him too much, because I end up losing anyway. Even if I'm 100% right, I end up losing. So I don't argue with him. So.
Yeah, actually when we were at Pine Bush, there was I think an astrophysics student. I don't know if you remember, Eric, but there was like a little, small group of students from a university that came, and they were making a podcast, and they were interviewing people at the Pine Bush.
I remember that.
And then after, they took some clips from us. One of the guys stayed behind, and he's studying astrophysics or physics or something like that. Young guy, probably 20 years old, 22. And he was asking really good questions. But I got to the point where I was like, this is getting way too deep in the science. So I called over Mark. I was like, Mark.
Yeah, I do that.
Passed Mark off.
I do that too. Yeah. I just did that the other day with a guy.
But Mark, first of all, he's a kind-hearted person. And he's open-minded.
Yeah. I recently had him on my podcast, and he's just it's great to talk to somebody like that has
cool
the depth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very good dude.
Dude, he should be on like Neil deGrasse Tyson level of awareness in the public, because he's so he's so fun about the way he teaches and speaks about science.
Very positive intention. He wants you to know everything that he knows.
Yeah.
And he communicates very well.
Right, and I think he teaches well. It's I love Neil deGrasse Tyson, even though I disagree with some things that he says on occasion. But as far as like a teacher, I think Mark is gets the A in that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
he should be teaching in a university somewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah, teaching kids this stuff, man.
I don't know if you all know about his health scare that he had a few years ago. Where
dehydration.
He didn't realize what was going on with his own physical body. Some problems have happening. Who knows exactly what happened, but he is one blessed. I'll say blessed, because I think someone had control on what
Oh,
was going on there. He is blessed in the sense that he's able to retain his memory. He is able to retain his knowledge. All the training that he's had and that he knows.
Hmm.
And then he can turn around and end up like he does now. He sits there and tells everybody about when he does the all night long observatory thing. I don't know
Hmm.
how anybody can stay up all night and do that, but he does. And I usually paid out after a couple hours, but you go back and look at the stuff that he does. But for 6 hours, he's sitting there looking at the night sky, and it's like, how does anyone do that? I don't have the attention span to do that.
Well, I guess if you have enough knowledge to know that there are many things to look for, curiosity just keeps churning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I were just looking at it, I wouldn't know what to be looking for. So I'd kind of just, I'd gloss over at some point, probably too, unless I had enough coffee.
Yeah, I look at a planet, you know what I mean? I get to the planet, I look at the planet, but that's it. He can dive deep into it and look at the different craters in the planet and know the names of them. And it's just like, wow, man.
Yeah.
I wish I had the capacity to remember all that kind of stuff and do the stuff that he does.
I got to check with Mark that the bishop was right. He said that if you're going like 42,000 miles an hour, it would take 10 years to get to Jupiter.
Wow.
Oh,
Well, it takes
probably
the
not make the
sun
trip then.
it takes the light from the sun 8 minutes to get here, and that's the speed of light.
Mm. Yeah. Interesting, though. He was just saying he was using that as an example of how large our solar system actually is.
Yeah.
That if you got in a ship and you could go 42,000 miles per hour, it would take you 10 years to get to Jupiter. I had no idea it was that
How
far.
fast? How fast was the Voyager probes?
I'm not
going?
sure. Good
That's a
question.
good question. Yeah, I mean it's fast now. It's super fast because it was speeding up. I don't know
Like
what
when it went around. It went around the one that went towards Saturn. It went through the ring system, and it looked at. I believe it looked at Titan. Was it?
Yeah, was that Voyager 2 though?
Huh?
Was that Voyager 2?
Possibly. Voyager 1 went the other way, right? Voyager
can't
1,
remember.
1 went the other direction out towards the other part of like the asteroid belt or whatever. I don't know. I know they went two different directions, and,
Mhm.
and one was, I think one is at the edge of the universe, or at the edge of the solar system, rather.
Yeah, I mean one went through the Kuiper Belt.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some people popping in here. Look at that.
Yep.
Huh. Hello to everyone that's joining the chat.
Hello, chat.
On Facebook.
Yeah, thanks
Hey,
for spending
Ufi.
your time with us.
Hey, Rob.
Oofy.
Hey, Lydia. Zavortonuk. I'm so sorry. My Russian's terrible. Zavortnyuk. Okay, got it.
I couldn't read that. So,
I can sound it out.
Yeah.
The Cyrillic. That's about it. But
they must know your name, so you're coming over here to see what you're talking about. So, what?
there's
Okay,
nothing.
well-
I hate slaughtering people's name. That's
Yeah.
So, the first one was Voyager 1 was launched when in 76 or 77.
That sounds about right. Voyager 2 is 77.
Okay. See, that's where I had it mixed up. See that?
Voyager 1 was also 77. So Voyager
Okay.
1 was in September, and August was Voyager 2. Okay.
And so now where's Voyager 1 at? Which way did it go?
Let's see. Well, Voyager 2...
I thought that's what you're looking up. We got you working now. We
Yeah, no,
got
it's
you
okay. That's good. That's good. It's I'm glad to keep you getting it.
multitasking. We're showing multitasking. Good.
Well, I know Voyager 1, the velocity respect to the sun right now is 38,000 miles per hour. Voyager 2 is 34 plus 1,000 miles per hour. I don't know where it is.
Well, I know. I think it was Voyager 2 that went past Saturn and had gotten was it the polar polar shots of Saturn that had kind of like the weird shape to the clouds?
Yeah. Now, so I'm reading right here, Ron, that it says Voyager 1 and 2 Saturn
Okay.
encountered.
See, maybe that's why I
So,
got it confused.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're probably different images.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Hey, there's Jesse in the chat. Hey, look at that.
I think I know that guy.
Yeah. All right. So now, if our ships, our little Voyager crafts, boy, this wind out here is crazy. Coming right, I can feel it coming right through the door, and it's last time I checked, it was 10 degrees, and the wind chill it was minus 19.
Wow.
And now it seems like it's more windy now, and it's probably less than 10 degrees. So you're
I'm happy that I live on the East Coast. I really
Yeah,
am.
there you
Get
go.
like a
Yeah.
little bit of everything, but we don't get it too bad, you know.
Yeah, you're a little bit warmer. Although when I went there,
We just woke up to snow this morning, so
Yeah,
well,
we did
when
too.
I went there to find bushes last time, I drove through the Appalachian Mountains there in Pennsylvania, and it had a rainstorm. I stopped at this gas station right before the mountain pass. You know what I'm talking about, Jesse?
yeah, up in the
I can't
Poconos.
remember what the name of the gas station is, but there's a gas station right there before you get to the pass. And I saw this storm coming, the clouds coming across mountains. I said, "Oh, I can beat that. I can get through that." You know, no, you can't get through that because that's one is moving faster than you are. Another thing, you're driving into it, so you're not going to get through it. So as I'm
Absolutely.
driving through that, there's 2 lanes on each side. You know, when you go through that little mountain pass there, and the rain was so bad I couldn't see the hood of my car. I don't have a very long car, it's just an SUV, but it's not, the hood isn't long, and so it's like you couldn't see the front of your car. That's how bad it was raining. And I had the windshield wipers on, full blast, and I'm trying to go safely because you look off to the right side and you're going down the valley somewhere, You look off to the left, and of course you're going into traffic on the other side, and so it's like, what do? You can't really go too fast because you fly right off the road because of the hydroplaning,
Yeah.
So I put on my four-way flashers and I just tried to go, 45 or whatever it
You
was.
stay in slow lane.
And yeah, I stayed in the right lane, exactly. But that was still scary enough. The wind was crazy. The wind comes down off that mountain or goes across the top of that mountain, and you don't know what it's going to do. Tip you over, push you off the road, whatever. And we have that kind of wind here coming across the cornfield. And I'm glad it wasn't icy today when I went to town. My town drive was a 30-minute drive to town, by the way, in case somebody knew that. But it was super duper windy out there, and I was just glad it wasn't icy because I would have been off the road real easy, So I'm just glad that I got through that pass and got to Bill's place safely this time, and that was just crazy. I think on the way back there was a little bit of rain, but not as bad as that one. that was crazy. But so, what do you think the strange weather conditions are, Alan, that we're all experiencing all over the country? We're having, tornadoes in Kentucky that destroyed a whole state practically. You got, weird tornadoes here in wintertime in Minnesota, which is, unheard of, really. We got blizzards and snowstorms, but not tornadoes in the wintertime.
Yeah.
What do you think of these strange, and then floods, and you got major floods in some areas?
And also there are areas that are getting just extra rain, more rain, precipitation than normal, while other areas are extremely dry. And it's not just here. I mean, because my wife is from Europe, so we keep track of what's going on over there, or she does more so than I. But there are all kinds of odd patterns going on and extreme weather swings there as well. It's happening everywhere. Yeah. It's not just the United States, and so it's obvious that there's climate change. I know some people will disagree with me as to the cause of climate change, but the way I always look at it is in the 1980s when I was growing up, we had this thing called a hole in the ozone, and it was real. Like people can look at it. It was not. You can study it, with radar, and no one, not left, right, middle, had any issue with it. It was not a political thing at all. It was one of those issues where like everybody got together and was like, "Hey, we got to fix this problem." Nixon in the 70s was like, there's fire, rivers literally on fire because there's so much pollution. Hey, we need an EPA, like, so it just bothers me so much now that there's like this politicization of like, whether you believe in climate change or not, being man caused by humankind, like we need to stop putting pollution like in the air and in our water. Like I don't get it. Like why? Like and that's the problem with the politicization of this, is that it has prevented people to care enough, I think, about the environment and just take care of this garden that we have.
Yeah. So I was watching this show today, and they're using the video game, the virtual goggles and everything to actually show you what it's like to be in nature and to actually care for it. Because when we put commercials on, they were saying, you really don't get the feel for how to take care of nature and, really appreciate it. So they're making these things now where they put people into it, and they actually make them a seed and grow through the soil and become the tree, and they can see their hands as the leaves, and they grow. And then all of a sudden they started a fire, and it started coming, and they make you smell the smoke as you're in the tree. Sure. And you experience it all, and it kind of makes you care about it a little more. You know what I mean? They give you a seed to plant when you're finished. You know what I mean? It makes you have more appreciation for things that you normally wouldn't with just a commercial or someone telling you, hey, trees are burning and we gotta stop it, whatever. It's pretty neat stuff they're doing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, how does that work though? Like if you have a visual misfortune, like where you might get vertigo if you're trying to view the video,
Well, someone's there with you. They walk you through it, because as the fire's going, someone lights a match and puts it under your nose. You get the smell of fire, and they put the heater on your leg so you feel the heat from the fire as you're visually seeing it. You know what I mean?
It's 4D.
Yeah. It's
That's
completely.
cool.
It's amazing.
That is. Yeah. It reminds me of the Muppets 4D show in Disney World back in the day. Like you'd sit in these chairs and like the water would splash on you when you were watching with your 3D goggles.
Yes.
Yeah, like the seats would move and like yeah, it was cool.
They had the zombie rides in Wildwood, New Jersey.
Did they?
Did that. Zombies, he's spitting acid if you order.
That sounds about right. Zombies in Wildwood, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope those trees will stay where they are.
But they need to start doing some more intensive education on the climate change stuff for sure, because it's a fact. It's happening. You know what I mean? Our glaciers are melting.
It's well that's the other thing is that for a long time people were like, and I was thinking this too, kind of like, the climatologists were crying wolf a little bit too loud, because it was like, are things really going to be as bad as they say they're going to be in 5 years? They weren't. Are they really going to be as bad as they said they're going to be in 10 years? They weren't. But in 15 years, all like predictions started coming true, and it was like, whoa.
Right.
And because those warnings really started about 30 years ago, and after about like 20 years, like things started happening. Right. And I was like, oh, that's pretty in line within a couple of years of what they are estimating. That's a pretty good predicting.
Absolutely.
So
I kind of feel like it's too late, or was it too late? Is it too late? When is too late? I
don't know. The whole too late thing it's hard to tell too, because climate is so complex.
Yeah.
So like there is natural climate change, and then there is chemicals that we're putting up into greenhouse gases. Yeah. So it's like, it's like the super, super complex math. And that's why it's not exact, right? Like they can't predict things to happen. Like even now, like they'll be like, oh, it's going to rain. Like,
right.
Well, I'm the old guy here, but I'm going to say surrender is not an option.
Right. But yeah, that's where I was going. Is like, we don't really know what's going to happen. And so like, I'm not panicked, but we should be extremely concerned.
Right.
And I also think there's complacency, and not that it won't be true, that science will find a solution to help us, right, and help maybe reverse the greenhouse effect. But like, there's a complacency that's like, well, whatever, we'll just trash it because someone else will clean it up later. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of people think today too. They're like,
Yep.
yeah,
A
I'm
lot
not
of
gonna worry
people-
about it. Somebody else will do it.
Well,
They
I just
don't
see
care.
that attitude in the city. Like, people just
Yeah.
throw trash on the street
Yeah.
or on the
Somebody will
subways.
take care of it next
yeah.
quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Philly's just
I'm
like
sorry,
New
I
York.
gotta-
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
a city. It's the
Yeah.
same way.
Well, then you got the other problem too. You know, I ain't gonna be here. You know, so what does it matter, right?
Yeah.
But
So
your
now
kids
is that
might.
selfish? Is that selfish, or what? How
Yes.
is that attitude? I mean,
Of course, it's selfish.
well, I mean, I'm my own. I'm by myself. I don't have any family. I don't have any
You don't
children.
care about us. You don't care about the young generation. Hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing, Ron?
But no, really though, how does that? You know, some people say, oh well, we gotta save the planet for our kids or for our grandkids, whatever. I don't have any of that to be concerned about.
Yeah, but we do all have younger generations, and together we all have descendants. And
Mm-hmm.
in the future, the damage done right now will go for the next 10 years. We
Right.
change it now, we'll start seeing results in like 10 years.
Right. And why is it that you don't hear of atheists not caring about the environment? And why?
Athe-
And,
They don't
and-
believe in the life hereafter. They don't believe in the next life. They don't believe in the next level. So to
but they
speak.
seem to care. But they care about the environment still.
Well, it seems like maybe two different subjects there, atheists and caring about the environment.
No.
Because
Uh,
every atheist I've ever known
Yep.
cares about taking care of this planet. Like, I've never met an atheist that's like F it, I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna be dead, and that's it for me. Like, they still care.
I mean, I'll clean up
First,
my
you know?
trash. I'll clean up trash. I'll take care of my immediate area where I'm at. You know what I mean? I'm not going to
Mhm.
be disrespectful in that way. I remember once I was going to a park, and it was a historical park as well. And anyway, I saw a hamburger package sitting in the corner, and like there's a trash can 10 feet away. Why couldn't they put it in the trash can? Yeah, I don't understand that. Why do
No,
people?
no.
And that's somebody who doesn't care right there.
Mhm.
So it just
Yeah.
throws a beer can down on the ground, without putting it in the proper container, or even
Yeah.
trying and putting it in the trash can, possibly. But the point of the matter is, there's gonna be always somebody that's gonna be the I don't care attitude. Now I'm not that far gone. I do care for my immediate environment. I do want to make sure the trash is not hanging around, and things like that. And so I do want to take care of that. And as a prospector, if I go prospecting in the river, a lot of times we'll find trash. We'll pick up garbage out of the river that nobody knew was there.
Mhm.
And we're not going to throw it back in the river. We're going to take it out of the river and clean it up, And so most people that are like, maybe a fisherman might not do it that way. They'll just be fishing and, oh well, it's just trash in the river. Who cares? But those who prospect, and try to gain something from the land itself, we need to make sure the land is taken care of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that, then we're not going to have anything to even be enjoying, whether it be nature, watching, or whatever,
Yeah, and growing up near nature doesn't mean that you're in tune with nature either.
Right.
Right.
Very true.
I don't know if
And
you
what
guys
gets
heard
on my
that.
nerves more is the fact that, back in the day, we could be living off of free energy. And
Yeah.
I mean, there was the guy that came out with cars that ran on water, and they completely confiscated all of his work, and we could be doing a lot. And
Benjamin
now,
Franklin,
did you
Benjamin
notice-
Franklin had the steam engine for cars.
Yeah.
Like, way back when.
There's
Yeah.
another company now.
there's so many better ways we could be doing things,
Mhm.
and the government's not doing it because of the dollar bill. So it's not going
And
to happen.
there's another car company now that was just in the news about the hydro something. It's a water electric type of car. And this is out of, I don't know if it's Toyota or something like that that's making it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a combination of water and electric car. No gas needed.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I think
Yeah.
it kind of goes back to like the government cover up of extraterrestrials or just high tech black budget stuff.
Yeah,
Like
Tesla.
I think that they want to slow down the public technology advances so
Well,
that they can stay in advance on their secret projects. Like it's kind of like the diamond mines, right? Like diamonds are a dime a dozen.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are only so many locations you get them. But they're a dime a dozen. Like there's tons of diamonds, and yet they're expensive. It's only because people have their thumb on the spout, and they're
Actually,
slowing.
with the technology they're developing right now, artificial diamonds are cheaper per carat than natural diamonds. Much, like a 10 times cheaper to make artificial, undetectable artificial manufactured diamonds.
Like you can't tell that it was manufactured.
No,
Wow.
and they're 10 times cheaper than natural diamonds.
And yet they're so expensive.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, why is that? Yes.
Because it's the same thing with the
They
technology.
control the market for diamonds.
That's right.
Exactly.
Just like gasoline, oil.
Absolutely.
They have the throttle.
So the cubic zirconia is just as nice looking, but it costs like 3 times as less as a regular diamond, right?
Yeah. Well, that was good marketing too. I mean, there are differences between the two rocks, but
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, I think amethyst is like one of the most beautiful stones. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's so many beautiful crystals out there. I don't, other than diamonds.
Holy cow! They're showing the wind speeds of 22 to 30 miles an hour.
Wow.
What the heck? Oh boy.
You
Now
get a
they had-
windmill up there, Bill. Out there, Ron.
And then get off the grid, man.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, I'd have to have
Hang one
quite
out
a mountain.
hang one out the backyard with some heavy guy wires.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. That's our dream. We want to get off the grid. That's our goal.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't
do
know
that
about
for a
all
long
that. I
time.
think they had a ruling here in Minnesota about some guy that was trying to save rainwater or something like that. He got fined big time for saving rainwater. That
On
was
his own
building
property.
rainwater, yeah.
Wow.
Because he didn't want to pay the city for water or whatever. I don't know something. He found a way how to recycle the rainwater and then filter it and use it for regular water. And he didn't have to worry about the city for water. So they didn't like that idea.
Of course, they're losing money.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
I get charged what drains off my roof. So
Yeah.
Right. That's true.
And there was somebody else that had something about wind power. Yeah, I think they were using a small windmill, and they got in trouble for not doing the proper procedure to get the power. Something
well,
like that.
they've made it almost impossible here in Ohio
Yeah.
to have anything. I think there's like under a meter, you're okay, but anything bigger than that, you have to have like 1,000 feet to the nearest roadway, and they've made it practically impossible.
Mhm.
There are a couple of farms here within sight of me, okay, that have, I don't know, maybe 50,000 watt, nice sized 100-footers or so, okay, and they've been churning for 10 years anyway. But they couldn't put them up today. They're not allowed. They've been zoned out to the point where they just can't be done.
Yeah, I'm hoping I don't lose power here. This
See,
wind
up to Poconos in Pennsylvania, you can go and buy a piece of land up there, and you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? You can live off the land. You can put a trailer on there and make your own water and electricity and all that up there, and not have a problem with it. And I've grown up there. I used to be a counselor in my Boy Scout life up there. I used to live up there during the summertime. I loved it. I loved being away out of the city and just being with nature, and it's great. It's awesome. Right where you were going through the tunnel, Ron. That's where I used to teach at the Blue Scout camp up there.
Beautiful
Counselor.
story.
Yeah, absolutely. My mom grew up there, her whole childhood. She was raised up there, so it's in the family.
Man, oh man.
Love that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we missed a lot of that over the years living in the city, you know, because it's so hard to get out of the city, especially when you don't have a car.
Absolutely. I've been checking out the national forest. You can go camping there and spend the night there. They got cabins and all the major national forests, even the little ones. They got little cabins you can spend for $35 a night, $25 a night.
Oh, wow.
This way
Well,
you're
that's cheap.
experiencing it and still kind of be in the city in a way.
Yeah, I went to a lake in Wisconsin, called, I believe it's called Nugget Lake or whatever. Anyway, there's prospecting there, and you can do panning. You can't do any, can't use any machinery or anything like that. You use your pan and your shovel and things like that. Nothing power. But anyway, there was a cabin that I rented for a couple of days for the weekend, and it was like about $120, for the for the weekend. But it's really nice because the river was right there. I could just walk right out the back door and walk over to the river and do my panning and come back with some gold and go back home.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that worked out pretty nice. Oh, I lost the mouse. Hold on.
Yeah, the national forest is $15 a night if you want to camp. It's $35 for a small little cabin, $25 for a yurt, and it's great. And then they have all kinds of cool stuff like historic buildings up there. You can go apple picking, you can go fishing in the river. I mean, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. Well, I don't know what this wind is crazy out here. 20.
Jesse, are you doing a podcast for Captain Ron? Is that you? Is that you? Oh, okay.
No.
There's
no. He has his own on Anchor that he does.
Yeah.
And he's gonna share them with me.
Yeah, I'm gonna share them with him, and then he'll replay them. From
eventually. You're what, like 30 shows or so?
33.
Well, there you go. That's pretty perfect time.
33rd for the first of the year.
Perfect time to start it over, yeah. And you can send it to me. We can do either the Google Drive or however you got to do it.
Probably gonna send it like an MP3 or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that's what this computer has.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't. I'm sorry. I wasn't referring to Ron here.
Oh, okay. That's fine. That's what you meant.
There's a virtual world called the Observation Deck where they held like.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
The guy who runs it is Captain Ron. I forget his full name. But I saw a podcast that's there every week, and I think I remember seeing the name Jesse, so I thought maybe it was you.
It's weird because I haven't met anybody in the UFO world that has had my name yet.
Oh, so then maybe I'm just making it up. I don't know, but
no,
there is a podcast there.
Possible.
Yeah. Can you share a link with us for your podcast too?
Yeah, it's called UFO Encounters Worldwide. I'll share the link. It's on all major platforms.
Well, now, Jesse, you were at the Pine Bush Museum.
Yeah, I was there for
and
the opening
you were
weekend.
Also there. You were also there for some other conference thing, weren't you? For some other.
Yeah,
conference?
it was their grand opening weekend when they moved to the new building. This year, so I went there during there and got to meet a couple of cool people. Yeah, it was cool. So it was neat seeing it and seeing the stuff they had and how the good job they did. I shared the link in it should have popped up. Did it pop up yet?
It says podcast.
I remember the first year that.
I did send the link too in there. That's weird. Here, I'll put it in private.
Did it work though? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then the website's the same thing. It's ufoencountersworldwide.wordpress.com.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think the Charles that year the first year we went there when they're making the museum there, right?
What's that?
They're just trying to get that all set up. I think they probably changed it since we looked at it. That's a lot of fun to be part of that, and we got to meet Lance and talk to some of the people running the whole scene there. Pretty good group of people that got there.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, that whole little town's
Holy
cool
cow.
too, man. You see little
Yeah.
like aliens on people's houses
Yeah.
and stores, and the Cup and Saucer Diner, and
Yeah, that's a
it
gem.
was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You guys can't hear that, can you?
I was there when they had this. Two guys were documentary filmmakers that were there when I went, and I actually got them hooked up with some of the New York MUFON people to make a documentary. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Two young guys getting in the field. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
It's neat when you meet people like that and you get people connected. You know what I mean? You go to these places and you meet people from all over, and they're trying to do the same kind of thing, get the word out, and it's neat.
I don't know if you guys can hear that wind. Can you hear that wind in your headphones
I
at all?
don't think so.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's really loud here.
it's kicking up over here too. My windows, yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I used to be in your chat, Alan. I used to listen to your show on KGRA
Oh,
when you had it on there. Yeah.
okay, cool. What was your name? Just Jesse?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
had
okay.
the same for a
Cool.
while. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Sometimes I
yeah.
just listen behind the scenes. You know what I mean? I got the TV. I got it hooked up for YouTube, but I can't chat in the chat when I listen to it on the TV. So.
Right.
Nobody
Yeah,
ever
well,
knows
I
I'm there.
couldn't figure out
Like,
on
yeah, I've seen that show, and they're like, I haven't seen you in the chat room. And I'm like, yeah, it's on the TV.
Yeah, it's just, I
working.
really wish, like, because we have Roku and we watch a lot on Roku. I wish there was something that YouTube could build into the app so that you could message and that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And interact. Yeah.
That's why I got to be on my phone with the TV going at the same time to chat, just to talk with people. And it's just like
Yeah.
sometimes you just put it on and you just kick back. And
Well, yeah, I couldn't figure out the Amazon Fire tablet. Right, I got on YouTube, watching a show on YouTube, and I can't see the chat.
you can't chat on Amazon Kindles. I
Yeah,
got
is
the
that
same
weird?
thing.
Is
They
that
don't
weird?
allow you to have a chat. It's
On the
stupid.
phone, I can, but not on the
Yeah.
tablet.
Yep.
It's
Same
kind of
here,
weird
Ron.
and irritating when you're trying to have the flexibility and being able to carry just a small,
Yep.
small device
It don't
like a
make no
tablet.
sense. You have the whole YouTube app on the Kindle or the Fire. And
Hey,
you
is
can't
that
use
Tony
it.
Rathman there?
Chat.
That's
What?
Tony Rathman there. Hey, Tony.
Tony, yeah.
Hey, Tony.
He just got done with his other show, and then he's popping over here and see what's going on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
right.
So yeah, Tony was just hey man,
All right.
we just released a documentary on EVPs.
Oh,
that,
wonderful.
that Tony was featured in. I helped to co-produce, and
Oh,
he,
yeah,
very
cool.
he totally. I mean, the amount of evidence he presented for that film was just phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. I've seen him work behind the scenes on his Facebook page when he shares it, and pretty incredible the amount of work that he puts into the discovery of these things.
Yeah, I mean,
Most everybody would just say, "Oh, that's just a noise. That's just a whatever," wouldn't even give it a second thought. But no, not Tony. Tony will get in there.
yeah, I mean, you have to take your time and be patient, and
Yeah.
you know,
And some people are pretty good. They'll pick out things right away, but you really have to know what you're looking for to get into it and understand what you're hearing. Just like when you see a UFO, you got to know what you're seeing, and that's why you go
Yeah.
through the checklist and say, well, it's not an airplane, it's not a this or that or whatever. And wait, that is something I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Hold up. So
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't know what a UFO. I would think everything is a UFO if I didn't get trained by MUFON with the stuff that
Yeah.
they taught me doing it and working with the people that I've worked with. I'll tell you that right now. I learned so much doing it, and I can look at things down. Just that's not a UFO. You know what I mean? It's a balloon. Or
yeah.
it's a drone. That's what I was teaching all the young
Now I
guys
saw
on
something.
one of
I
those
saw
shows.
something before. I shared it a couple of times with some people. I don't know if I shared it with Eric or not, but I shared it with Ken DaCosta on the other show that talked about UFO stuff, And I saw something where I'm at now. It was when I was taking a walk and I was doing my live video of my walk around town, and it was in the middle, the end of summer, I guess, one of my first years here, and it was a clear day, and I saw this thing. Probably, if it was, I had to pick a place where it was at. It was like between here and over a town called Blaine, which is like about a 6 or 7 hour drive from here. Okay. Now, this thing was a round object. It was metallic. It was shiny, in other words, so it was metallic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it had to be pretty darn big for me to see it from that distance.
Yeah, you're saying
Oh,
you saw it 6 or 7 hours of drive away. You saw
yeah, yeah,
that's like
yeah. And
300.
it was not a mylar balloon because that would have been too small for me to even see it.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, Eric,
Right,
when I find that picture again, I can share it with you again.
Wait,
And,
you saw this for 6 hours straight?
No, no. I was walking around town. I took a live video of my walk. I didn't even see it. Andy Morrow, the guy that I'm talking about, that does the
okay.
website,
Yeah.
he actually saw the object in my video and he said, "You saw a UFO?" And I said, "I didn't see that." And he
Hmm.
pointed it out in the video. He said, "No, that's something in the sky that you caught on your film, on your video." You know, so um, I think about that. I don't know what I saw. I'm not saying it's a UFO is what we classify as such. I have seen orbs here in real life, in my own visual sense. I saw a real life orb. I can't explain what that is. I don't know if it's my imagination or what, but when somebody else saw the same orb, then it's like, wait a minute, there's something here. Okay. So when two people verify that there's some kind of thing that we're seeing,
Mm-hmm.
what are we supposed to do? We got to count it as something, right? Um, with this thing that I saw, I don't think anybody else even reported it. And this was, like I said, it was as far as I can tell, a ball more or less, and it was metallic. It was shiny, and it was hovering probably about 10 to 15,000 feet above the ground. But again, it was in Blaine or over the town of Blaine in that area,
Is
way
that like
off in the distance.
right? You're saying it's like 300 miles away, or am I hearing you wrong?
It's a 6 hour drive, yeah, however far that is.
Yeah.
So, um, but I didn't know that I even seen. Like I said, I didn't know that I seen it, and it was caught on the video. So, um, there's that. Okay, I didn't make the video up. I didn't. I just took it and shot a live video. And he saw it, and he marked it on the video what I saw. So he didn't make it up either. He was just documenting what I was seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Corroborating what you're seeing.
yeah. So it's not an imagination because then it wouldn't be on film if it was imagination, right?
Right.
It's a jet fuselage reflecting the low angle sun. I'm just throwing that out there. I have no idea.
In a round shape though.
So, but if
Oh, just
but
the
if
front.
if something's on film, then that means ET is real.
Yeah.
Mm.
No,
And as long as
did anyone get that? No.
right. I mean,
I meant Spielberg's ET is real.
well,
Oh.
no, I see what you're
because
saying.
in my heart
Alan.
it's real.
I see what you're saying. But I didn't take the time to manipulate the film at all. Like
No, I know. Yeah.
Um,
But
Right.
but you're right. Like and I'm sure Jesse sees this all the time too. There was a video that just popped up recently, and people are like, "Oh my god, it's a shape-shifting UFO!" And I'm like, for the first time in my life, though, I was like, that might be a weather balloon. Like that might actually not a Mylar balloon, but like I think that's a weather because it was kind of going like this and going. It was kind of up, and then
It
was,
could be one of them number balloons. That's what I've got.
especially
Yeah.
because
Oh,
when
yeah.
you zoom in, it's pixelated, right? So it's
Right.
kind of blurred, and so
Right.
when it rotates and moves, yeah, it has that illusion. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had somebody had a birthday or something, and they had the number 7 and the number 8, and you could see it, and it just looks weird. And it's a balloon, though, but it looks like it's transforming because it's flipping and flopping.
Yeah. I mean, but when you get corroboration, like Ron was saying, I mean that's the really exciting stuff, which is a shame because so many individuals see things by themselves, and
I
there's
know.
no one else around
Mhm.
that can corroborate it. And so it's like, as much as you want to believe them, maybe you do or maybe you don't. There's just no way to support. Um,
All you can do
the
is sound believable as best you can. That's all you
Yeah.
can do.
yeah, exactly.
And it's just like when you investigate the paranormal, with the ghost thing, you see a ghost, and then you think to yourself, no, I didn't just see a ghost. First of all, you discount yourself right away.
Always.
Hmm.
I must be seeing something else. I must be
Yeah.
imagining this,
Yeah.
or it must be a memory or a dream or some kind of thing. You know, um, I've seen things in my house here that I can't explain. And I just don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to verify it. I don't know how to prove it either way that I can even go. But I know that some people, I know two people that I know personally that have done remote walkthroughs. You know what that is, right, Alan? Remote viewing, remote walkthrough,
Mhm.
where somebody walks through your physical property and their mind or whatever. And so anyway, I had two different people do that, and they before I told them what I was seeing in the spiritual aspect of the characters that I was seeing, they told me with their report of what they saw and their walkthrough what I've been seeing. So that tells me, that verifies that I'm not imagining it. Two other people that are highly qualified with what
Mhm.
they have a gift of what they can do
Yeah.
saw something that I was seeing myself. And they described exactly, before I told them what I saw and what I have seen, they described exactly what I have been seeing. Now, that means that I'm not imagining it, but what is
Right.
going on?
I got a question. Um, how accessible is a lie detector test? Like, what would it cost? Who
Mm.
would you call? What if you wanted to have a lie detector test in kind of trying to prove something? Uh, anyone know the answer to that?
I don't know. You'd have to check. I guess their private investigators might do it.
Probably.
Doesn't MUFON have resource for that?
If I
Good.
went through those channels, I'm sure I would get an answer.
But you
Yeah.
mean for just like anything, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, like right now with the World Wide Web, is there a particular? I suppose I could Google it and find a guy who is a professional at
Yeah.
this, and I would imagine he'd want like $100 or something.
Absolutely.
You know.
Facebook user. I wish
I know.
Facebook user would have a
Yeah, it
name.
says Facebook user. I don't know who it is.
Mhm. But I mean,
Yeah,
that's
he's definitely going to want some money for it. Definitely.
yeah. That's one of the great things of the Travis Walton case is so many lie detector tests. They thought
Yeah.
they thought they had killed the guy.
But they all passed the lie detector.
Right, and it all works against the
Yeah.
people that don't want to believe it, and they still don't.
And you're not going to convince them to.
Right.
They're not going to be convinced at all. Okay.
And that's why I have like a lot of people telling me, listen, there may be millions and millions of UFO sightings. All it takes is one for the phenomenon to be real.
Well, Tony Rathman from EVPI, Entity Voices Paranormal Investigations, they're on Paranormal Now, and one of the videos that they played was of a hallway, and there's a light coming through an adjacent door
Yep,
to the
I've seen
right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's this shadow that moves by, and so like your first instinct is like, well, of course, there's someone in the room over to the right. Light's coming out of that room. It's casting this shadow, but the shadow goes further past just like the edges of the door. Like it kind of lands where it quite shouldn't, and then on top of that, there's nobody in that room. Like they're there. So unless the entire team is lying just to make up this video, which I know they're not.
Nope.
That's really good
That was
evidence.
Nearly holy grail
Yes,
quality.
exactly.
Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't want to believe it,
Oh, they won't.
They won't believe
Right.
it. Yeah.
This windstorm is way different than the game I used to play when I was a kid. Remember that when you were when you're sleepover with somebody and you played windstorm, and you got all all huddled up in your little safety place, and made a bunch of wind. This wind sounds a little bit different than that.
I think we used to sit in the dark and do seance, and then we'd sit and hold each other's
Oh,
hands, and then we would, like wish to see like someone that passed in our family or something like that. We did that when we were kids. I don't know.
Pennsylvania, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, now, my friend is Heidi Hollis, right? And so she's very much, afraid of opening the door to, the dark side.
Yeah.
But my feeling is that there are throughout the history of this planet, like billions of kids that have done that. And if we're all opening doors and letting demons in, I mean, we'd be in the apocalypse by now.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want to get theological about it, then you could be like, well, yes, they actually did release demons, and they're just working in subtle ways, and blah blah blah. And then of course you can get around that. But
Right.
I just kind of feel like we all did that when we were kids,
Yeah.
and we're not we don't have attachments of entities and demons and stuff all the time.
No.
I think that if those things do exist, they are there of their own accord, and it has nothing to do with
Absolutely.
playing Bloody Mary, when I was a kid or something. So
Now, has anyone ever done any what they call astral planning or traveling, and did it intentionally, not not by accident?
thanks,
have you-
Facebook user. We really appreciate that. If anybody wants to see that documentary, Sounds of the Dead, it's on Tubi, Tubi.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
Oh yeah, I
free.
got that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I got all
Um,
the fun stuff to watch. Everything I got.
I love Tubi.
It's a great discovery. I'm so happy.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
They have so much good stuff on there too.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
UFO
every-
stuff and
A lot of it's free, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
And you can pay a small, like what, $10 a month or whatever it is for the basic plan.
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know what it is.
I just use the free version.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I've always had.
Yeah.
But Ron, yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I had a friend. She and I tried to do like the psychic thing, like send messages back
Oh,
and
yeah.
forth, and it never worked. But
No.
but individually we had like our own kind of paranormal experiences. Like
Now,
those.
see, I had a different experience when I was a kid. See, in high school, I had this friend, or junior high, he's like in between junior high and high school, I guess. Anyway, back in the day when you didn't have the cell phone, you didn't have the computer, you couldn't message somebody and say, "Hey, meet me over at such place,"
Mhm.
and we didn't have all that. So I sent a message to my friend and I said, meet me in. I was going to summer school and I had to catch the bus, which I'd walk across the schoolyard from my house to the bus to catch the bus, and then ride a half an hour to go to the summer school.
Mhm.
And anyway, my friend comes riding around the corner of the school building, and I say, "Well, what are you doing here? You don't ride the bus, you ride your bike to school." And, "Well, you told me to meet you here." I'm like, wait a minute. It was like that. That was kind of weird that time,
Mhm.
but that I didn't expect anything out of that. But that one time it did work with me on the telepathy thing when I sent a thought to someone directly, and something actually resulted from that conversation. Who knows
Yeah.
why or what the whole parameter was on that, but somehow it worked. And so it is real. It does work. And some people have fine tuned it and has the abilities a little bit better than what we got it. I think part of that is our skepticism, why it doesn't work or why it doesn't work as well.
Well,
Okay.
I think that it's not just skepticism. I mean, I guess there's a part of the mind that doubts, right? But I was watching this video and it just happened to be Stephen Greer talking about remote viewing and that sort of thing. But he made the right points.
Yeah, he
It's
does.
very much like meditation, where like when you try to sit still, it's almost impossible without practice to get your mind to get out of its own way.
You can't just meditate one time and for your first time and try it. It doesn't
It
work.
takes a while, and like,
Yeah.
and even when you get like decent at it, like it's your mind still gets in the way on
Right.
occasion. And
Still
so
have problems.
so if you're trying to do remote viewing, like trying to get into that state of mind where your own thoughts don't get in the way of the process, that's extraordinarily hard. And I think that's why it's so rare that people
Yeah.
can do it. You know?
Yeah. If Stephen Greer charges a bunch to teach you CE5, whatever, it's probably worth it, in my opinion. I like the guy, and it probably what he teaches is worth what he charges.
Yeah.
But it's so easy for naysayers to say it's all ridiculous because it's it's on a different level.
Yeah, okay. So I understand people's reaction to monetizing off of hyperbole and exaggeration, or if not lies. So that's a big deal, and I think it's important for us to kind of have our guard up on occasion to be like, whoa,
Oh,
what's
absolutely.
going on here?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you're dealing with the paranormal, and even if you're like a nuts and bolts ufologist, like you're still talking about some really out there stuff. Like, so I think there's this odd effect that happens in our community where you start from a place of an open mind, right? And then you start believing in your own framework of what you think reality is, and then you start getting trapped within your own framework. But because you started from a place of an open mind, and your framework might be something kind of odd, you start, not you, but I'm saying the royal you start thinking like that other people are always wrong and that you're right. But I think it's like a delusion. Like you've started with an open mind, so you still think you have an open mind, but you don't anymore because now you're stuck in your own new belief system. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that.
And so you end up being closed-minded, even though that was not your original intent.
See, I think a lot of like new investigators, when they're just getting in the field, they do that. They're quick to judge stuff. But when you've been in this field for a long time, like I haven't been in a long time, but I've been in it long enough to where I've seen so many different things at this point where I have to go into everything open-minded, each individual case, because I've seen so many different things come out of the woodwork in different directions that it's just, you can't do that. Yeah. You can't do that if you're a good investigator, you cannot do that.
But if somebody tells you, "Oh, I can communicate with UFOs via my mind and call them down," I mean, as a MUFON investigator, like, what do you do with that?
I always give everybody the benefit of the doubt, all the time. I mean, I'm ERT now too, so I work with experiencers, and I mean, some of the experiencers say some really out there stuff, and you can determine certain things that are lies, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Especially if they, if you're good with psychology and you pay attention to how many times they say words and repeat themselves, and pay attention to their physical attributes as they're talking to you. But there's some things where I always give anybody the benefit of that. Remember Anjali that was all over Twitter? I don't know if you remember her. She came out and said that she's going to take a group of people to a mountain and see these beings. I don't know. She was all over Twitter. And she stated these things, and I gave her the benefit of the doubt at the beginning. I said, yeah, as long as she goes through with it and does it, and she didn't do it. She said that the owner of the property no longer wanted her to come on the property, and she's still in contact with these beings though, and she will figure something out. But she had a following. I mean, everybody like a huge following. But there's times when people do stuff and they're saying, "Hey, I've been having contact," you know what I mean? And it turns out to be like they're showing me these photos and these videos. It's like unbelievable,
Well, that's the thing. There is a fair amount of evidence to support CE5. I think
absolutely.
Like there, people on camera, doing the CE5 thing, and then lo and behold, up in the sky, there's some odd lights moving around.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, Stephen Greer knows some people in the military that will fly drones around, like super high-tech drones up in the air. But I doubt it. It doesn't seem worth their time or effort.
I don't think so.
So
I think he was on to something. I think he did figure something out along the way.
Stephen Greer?
Yeah. Well,
Well, all I know is now you have the internet We're talking 2011, and I'm learning everything I can about UFOs. Going to any good YouTube videos. I learned a ton going to Project Camelot. Was amazing. The early days of Project Camelot were amazing. Then she kind of got ridiculous over time. But the other one is Stephen Greer with the 2001 presentation in Washington, the press club. That really meant a lot to me. So
Yes.
then I started watching any free video I could of Stephen Greer talking, and I just learned so much and gained so much respect for him that'll never die. To me, he's like one of the people that gave me really good information to understand what's going on.
And people make mistakes too. People can go wayward, and find the way back. That sort of thing. Like the little alien body.
Yeah.
What was it called? I can't remember now.
Well, they're trying to make it out to have been a deformed human or something, right?
It was a deformed baby.
Well, it was.
It
Tested.
really was.
It really was. Yeah.
The evidence was done, and it
Wow.
was.
Jeez,
Yeah.
looking at it, I couldn't. Wow, I guess.
No, and I forget the guy who David something was did the testing, and he actually does testing for the military, I think, as well, or the government.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a cover up or something. Absolutely not. Okay.
No, it was just it was a mistake. I think people got really excited. Just got too excited.
Right.
And kind of
And that happens.
convinced
It
themselves.
happens.
Yeah.
Especially when you do it your whole life, and then you think you find that
the
thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like, oh my God, this is it. We're gonna blow everything
Right.
out of the water and change humanity. And
Especially when it's. Yeah.
yeah,
That thing looked like an alien.
It did. It really did.
I mean, just the differences. I don't know.
well, at first it was also mummified too,
Yeah.
and it had, I forget what the disease was, but it had a mutation, so that affected the shape of the body. And when something's mummified, it also shrinks in size too. So I don't know.
I don't think we're all aware of actually all the deformities that exist. These people are all in some place like an institution, and we don't, and they're kept away from society. I think.
Yeah.
I suspect something like that's going on. Used to be like state hospitals, but I don't know.
I think it was the Atacama mummy. Is that what it was called?
Oh, you mean the picture?
The picture of the little alien, was that called Atacama? Okay.
I don't know. The one that was Jaime Maussan.
Jaime Maussan. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, what a blunder that was.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. That was totally man. I remember that like it's yesterday. We were all up late at night to watch this thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was fun.
I remember hearing about it. Yeah, on Coast to Coast.
And then ripping on Jaime Maussan. What a ridiculous man.
But I thought Stephen Greer was behind that one too.
Oh no,
He wasn't. Okay.
that was oh my God, I can't think of his name.
Wait, I'm confused. Wait, was there two little alien bodies?
You might be talking about something else. I'm talking about a slide that they
That was the Roswell slides.
yeah.
And the other
okay,
investigator that was involved in that or got roped into that was Richard Dolan.
Yeah, Richard Dolan got sucked into it.
Yeah.
And he
Okay.
really, oh my God, that brought him down. He was so,
Yeah, but I just recently watched him.
As soon as he got high definition scan of the slides and got him out there, within hours it was busted.
right away. There was software.
And they had been hyping this thing with low definition pictures of screenshots for years.
The damage that does to our cause is pretty bad, because there are a lot of people that, they're all of a sudden they're interested for the first time. It turns out to be nothing, and they may never look again.
Yep.
Well, you guys, I think we did pretty good, don't you?
Yep,
Yeah.
let's go for
I
another
think we've
hour.
had an interesting.
Go ahead, Eric. Eric's
Eric,
always trying. Eric's
Eric,
always trying to
Eric
get
gets
going.
his second
I
win.
always do that every show. Well, let's go on.
That's
No,
fine.
we're not hanging up now.
One time we went another hour and a half when you kept doing it.
Yeah.
It's like we kept finding something to talk about. Oh boy, but no, Alan, it's been a great pleasure to have you here tonight. I don't know if we answered any questions for anybody, but anyway, we had fun visiting
We're
at
just
least.
glad to see you back in the saddle.
Yeah.
Ready to
You
bring
got
us
me
some more
warmed up.
goodies.
Yes.
And whatever you want to share with us here, we'll be more than happy to help pass along your message that you have, or thoughts that you have, or comments that you have, or things, whatever it is,
Thanks,
Um,
man. Yeah, appreciate it.
you can, if you want to leave that open to where you can be that flexible, where you can share things. I think we're, like I said before, we're a community. We are a community, not a competition.
Exactly.
And the point of that is that we can all work together for the greater good, so to speak. And I don't mean that in any kind of weird slogan, like trying to make anybody money or anything like that. I mean, like, we can work together for everybody's good, for everybody's well-being.
Yes.
So that means, from the health aspect, from the science aspect, from everything else that we're talking about. If we get together and we talk about this stuff and we share our thoughts, think of how many more people we can reach, instead of saying I'm right and you're wrong. That ain't gonna get anywhere.
Right.
And
Yeah, I
that's
think-
UFO to a
Yeah.
lot of us is
Yeah.
world transition. That's what we want.
Yeah.
We want a peaceful transition into a new age.
Yeah. And then with that, I think we can pretty much about wrap it up. I think we got 1 hour and 43 minutes. We did pretty good.
Yeah.
I think we did good for.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys.
First-
Appreciate it. It was nice to meet you, Jesse. And
Yeah, you
glad-
too.
glad to
Yeah.
chat with
Really.
you, Eric.
Yeah, nice talking to you.
Absolutely. Good
Yeah,
talk.
I mean,
And,
I'm sure we're not too far from each other, so maybe we'll bump into each other sometime
Yeah,
soon
and
at
then,
an event.
Alan, I'll be sure. Of course, I'll see you next Pine Bush. If
Yeah,
that's
we'll
the
all
plan.
be Pine Bush. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there this time.
All right,
And
nice.
It'll happen.
hopefully Charles will get there this time as well this year. And we're gonna probably split the driving like we had planned. Last time I think I went dead on the volume. Hold on.
Nope, I can hear you, Ron. Nope, now I lost you.
You were fine.
You were fine, and then did something.
Oh, now can you hear me?
There you go, yeah.
No, we don't hear you.
Hold on.
Oh boy.
Messing with him. No.
Oh no.
Not yet.
Ron just
I-
doesn't want to let go of the hour. Just
All right.
That's true. That's
Oh.
very true.
Well, thank you again, everyone, for being here. And of course, I knew you would wait till I come back, right? So I could have went another 15 minutes trying to work on it. That's the plan. See, there you go. No, but anyway, thank you very much again for joining us tonight, Alan, and Charles, and Jesse, and Eric, and everyone in chat that jumped in and said hello, and even the Facebook user, whoever that is. I don't know who that is. But hello to you. I think Papa Tom had something about a name. He couldn't get his name to work out right or something. But anyway, hello to whoever that is. And Tony Rathman that jumped in. That's pretty cool to have someone
Oh,
else
yeah.
from another big show drop by. And I'd sure like to have Tony on a show, one of these nights, and have him talk about some stuff. Just have some fun, It doesn't have to be too serious. We can just have fun.
Yeah, no, Tony's a blast.
We're not too serious here, are we? No.
No.
So,
Thank
Way
you,
too serious,
Ron.
Ron.
Thank you, Ron, for running a great network.
Oh, thank you, Eric. Yeah, and
Cheers to
I'm
that.
glad you join us from time to time, and you can share your thoughts and share your stories. And
Yes.
I got to meet Eric a couple of times. We got to
Yep.
have some good interesting conversations. I
Right.
think we both walked away with more questions though than we had answers, and but we both understood each other very well. And that's what's interesting about that
Mhm.
is I remember one time we were standing at the river at the Hudson River there.
Yeah.
We were looking at a building. We had two different buildings, two different roofs of two different buildings. We were trying to figure out if it was the same roof of the same building or what, you know.
Yeah.
And we took about 45 minutes to try to discover which one was which one. And finally we decided, well, let's just go over there and look at it.
Yeah. Well, no, you know
Yeah,
what it
that's awesome.
was. You know what it was is I was teaching the just move a little to the left, a little to the
Yeah,
right, and you can see so much more.
that's true. Yeah, and you did make that clear. And
Yeah.
he was making the sense of when you see something in the sky and you make it out to be something it's not.
Yeah.
But don't jump at that first, first offer that you see. Try to evaluate everything you're seeing. Right, Eric. That's the main thing.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and like from that, of course, being military, I kind of go through a checklist of things what I think they are. Like is that an airplane? Is that a helicopter? Is that a no, 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 or yes, oh yeah, that's what it is. And I'm sure that everyone else that sees a light in the sky, they do the same thing. But
Absolutely.
but you have to understand how things fly. You have to understand how the helicopter flies. You have to understand how the jet flies. You have to understand how a balloon flies.
You gotta know the
You have
lights
to
on the
understand,
aircraft.
yeah, or a
You gotta
blimp,
know it all.
or a Goodyear blimp. You have to know how that flies. Things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
and
when that has that ability to uh, get developed in your mind, then there isn't too much that can be, passed by you without you understanding 100% of what you're looking at. And
yeah.
then if it is a UFO, most of the time when we discover it's UFOs, it's like, I already knew it was a UFO, no big deal. Then you go about your business and don't tell anybody, and you forget about it, and then hopefully nobody will report it, and you won't miss the report. And then, right, you don't want to look like that crazy person that's talking about a UFO. So that's the thing about that. You don't. It's like reporting a ghost sighting. You don't want to be that crazy person. But anyway, yeah, I think I had enough of rambling now, right? You guys are asleep now. Yeah, Alan, he's leaning back. He's like ready.
No.
All right. Well, I hope we can have you back
Yes.
on maybe in the summertime, Alan, if you got any new developments.
Yeah, well,
If you
actually,
have,
I'll share right now. I have a film coming out, documentary, in about a month or so,
oh, wonderful.
called Half Light. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But
And this
it
will be
was,
like on what Travel Channel or History Channel or.
yeah, right.
Hey,
No,
I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to help you out here.
this is my little pet project. I started it during the pandemic when we couldn't
Okay.
meet anybody, so I started doing some interviews, remotely. And so
Oh,
I'm
there you
taking
go.
those interviews and weaving them into a thematic
Oh, I like that.
documentary. So
That's a
That's
good
cool.
it's
idea.
yeah, it's like as low budget as you can possibly get. But I think the theme of it and the conversation, I think, is what's going to make
Well,
it
okay.
That's
One
what counts. Right.
one real quick takeaway of that, what you've learned so far during your process, does it uh, does it go along with what your thoughts are?
Yeah. So I'm not in it, right? But I interview a bunch of other people. But my
Okay.
voice is definitely
Okay.
in
Good
there.
deal.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
So it's I wouldn't call it an unbiased documentary,
Okay.
All
All right.
but it has more of
Wonderful.
a spiritual thread kind of running through it. Yeah.
And Jesse will be here hopefully next week if he's not
Absolutely.
abducted or anything. Eric will be here next week, maybe. If he
Oh
wants
yeah.
to talk more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you have any more new UFO news next week, Eric, you can also share yours for your state.
Sure.
If you have any, because then we'd have from New York, we'd have from Pennsylvania, and we'd have from Massachusetts. So that'd be perfect. And then Charles can throw in from Ohio. And of course, I don't see
Yeah.
anything here in Minnesota, so I got clouds, I got overcast, I got rain, I got snow, I got something going on here. Right now it's too windy to look up anywhere. I can't go outside. But when I was had to look, I'd be rolling around, blowing away. That'd be pretty funny actually. But anyway, we're not gonna try it though.
Just get it on camera, Ron.
Yeah, right. Get it on Facebook Live. That'd work out.
Really quick, does anyone else practice on their phones being quick to open up their camera app?
Ooh, good question.
Because
What
I
now?
do. I
Sucks.
practice.
Mm, I'm
Oh,
gonna
you mean
try
like when
that.
you see something, grab your phone real quick.
Like,
That's a
how-
good thing to bring up.
to open
Like,
up your app as soon
without
as
even
yeah.
thinking about it. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
I
practice-
just normally do the live shot anyway. I usually have it going. So
Yeah.
so if you
Well,
see me,
Everybody's
on,
thinking now. Everybody's going to be doing this now.
That
yeah. Well,
is
if
a
you,
I
if
feel
you
like
see me,
everyone should.
Yeah,
if
they
you see
should.
me, you got me.
I don't think I've
If you
ever
see me, I
thought
got
of that.
you.
Really.
that is excellent.
I
Because
got you on
we
the
talk
phone.
about it all the time in our field. Like,
Right.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I didn't have time to grab the camera. And then it happened to me a couple of times where I was like slow to like get my phone open and record something, and I was like, this is not cool.
No,
like
right.
I need to learn how to do this better.
You got to be ready. Yeah.
That's good.
Well, all right. Well, thank you guys for taking a few more minutes. We're almost there. I like to
that
try to
salad.
go 2 hours. We're almost there. But yeah, we made it pretty well, close to
Yeah.
2 hours. And
I gotta get going.
and
gotta get
thank
up
you
early.
again, Jesse, for being here, and of course Eric and Alan. Thank you again for taking the time out to visit with us.
Thanks for having
And
me. guys.
we had fun, and I think we'll have fun again when you get that documentary going, and we can all take a look at it and see what
Absolutely.
we like,
Yeah.
and give you some points about what we think, whether it's good or bad or whatever. That's what we learn.
Give it to me straight.
That's right. So, and Charles, I hope you're gonna do well this weekend, and you enjoy the weekend, and you're muted though, Charles. I can't hear you.
All right, Alan. It's good to talk to you.
You too.
You guys
Charles.
take
Good night,
Eric.
Jesse, Eric, Charles.
Bye bye, Jesse.
care. Next
Night,
time,
Ron.
guys.
All right, good night.
Take care, y'all.
All right, good night, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and close it up. Thank you for joining us, everyone in chat. And okay, there we go. So I'm going to end it. Thank you. End it. Kevin said, make sure I end it. All right, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you next time.